What's happening, fishing friends? Welcome to another episode. I was just talking to somebody who said, Debo, do you think the regular jackhammer, arguably the best chatterbait or chattering vibrating jig on the market, do you think this thing's now going to be obsolete? Well, there's a few reasons to that because one, I was having a conversation that we've seen the downsize, the more finesse chatterbait. If I catch more fish on this, why would I need the other? And we've also seen kind of on the opposite side of this that the Z-Man patent, I guess, ran out, or I don't know the whole story to it, but we're seeing other companies come out with vibrating jigs, these chatterbaits that are directly connected to the head with the blade, which was something you never saw before. So let's dig into this. Well, the conversation started because of this. The new, or one of the new, chatterbaits coming out from Z-Man. This is the Evo, but it's a chatterbait that's exclusive to Tackle Warehouse, and it's the new little Mini Max, so a smaller version of the regular Evo. Now, of course, I will leave all this stuff linked below. These are exclusive to Tackle Warehouse, so if you use my links below on any of this stuff to Tackle Warehouse, a little bit comes back to me and helps the channel. I appreciate the heck out of anybody that does that. But let's take a look here because between these two Evos, you're going to notice the blade difference. And I forget how much smaller, 40%, something like that. I'll put it up on the screen, but so much percent smaller. You can see there that it is a definite size difference. You can see a much smaller, more finesse type of vibration to it. You know, I almost go to thinking like the stealth blade, you know, the clear blade. It's got a really, really, really subtle thump. And I think that's honestly a very looked over chatterbait, but they've come out with this one now, smaller blade. These are both a 3/8 ounce head. So you can see the head looks to be exactly the same on those. It's still got the lead keeper here. I've got one of my little trailers I made. It's got the wire keeper, but the big difference you'll notice is this. The smaller 2/0 heavy duty hook. So if we compare that to this, there we go, that's better. So you can see the larger, I forget, 4 or 5/0 hook here, quite a bit bigger than this one, but this is still a heavy duty hook. So this is a heavier wire hook. So the whole point to this is having a little bit smaller, more finesse downsized deal that you can still throw on your regular, you know, medium heavy, moderate fast type of, you know, chatterbait rod. You're not having to downsize to, if you compare to, well, I was going to look, I thought I had another smaller chatterbait with a little hook. It wasn't a Z-Man, something different, but I also grabbed this because if you look at the regular Chatterbait Mini Max, this is the one that's been out for some time, a little bit smaller. People like it. You can get the 1/4 ounce, but this little small one here, put them up there side to side and the hook looks really similar. Flip this around, as you see right there, heavy duty 2/0 hook. So it's the same heavy duty 2/0 hook. I'm guessing Tackle Warehouse just wanted their own Evo Elite lineup that they could offer from Z-Man, which is cool. I'm down for more colors. This Evo has been a solid chatterbait for me. I always just make sure I crimp the snap deal here. I make sure I crimp that over so it's not going to come undone. I've heard of people saying the Evos have come undone. I don't know if that's a snap issue or not pressing that down, but really, this is very, very similar to that already on the market, Chatterbait Mini Max, just a little bit, you know, kind of gussied up. So some of these new colors that I picked up, this is the Bama Bream. I really like that one, you know, to mimic bluegill around here. We've got the electric shad, so your green pumpkinish on top, then your electric kind of see-through with like a purpley blue in it. The blades on this are also fancier too compared to the little Mini Max. They've got that, you know, these have the eyes just a little bit, you know, spiffied up. The Tackle Warehouse black and blue there with the matte black blade. I really like that. The green pumpkin watermelon. So this reminds me of like your summer craw, the green pumpkinish top with that watermelony with a little hint of like chartreuse in it down there. Kind of that summer craw look, which was nice. Again, the painted blade. Spot remover, one of my favorites. In my opinion, this mimics a crappie really well. Once you get it in the water, it's that kind of see-through-ish, transparent, white, clear with some glitter and just kind of a little bit of flash of chartreuse in there. Really like that one for cleaner water. It's another good one when you've got stained water and you're trying to mimic that crappie again. This one's called Glitter Bomb. Look at that little hint of chartreuse up top. And then the bluegill, one of everybody's favorites for fishing those shallow ponds, smaller lakes that are, you know, full of bluegill. It's got the copper blade on there, which is nice. Post-spawn, a bluegill color spinnerbait or chatterbait is absolutely killer. So that's a great color too. Now that's not the only smaller chatterbait that they've come out with. They also dropped this. This is the jackhammer, but it's the baby jack. Let me take it out. So if we look at the blades here, looks to be the exact same, I'm thinking. Looks to be the exact same blade. Oh, slightly different. This one on the jackhammer looks to be just a tiny bit bigger, but very, very similar. Again, that finesse style. This one's also got the Moto jackhammer deal stamped on it where the Evo doesn't. Now this one's also using the decoy egg snap, which I know a lot of people like a lot better than the other regular snap. It's also using a 3/0 decoy medium wire hook. So if you look at that, compared to this, you can see slightly bigger hook, but it's not as heavy wire, just like a step down. So I know a lot of people didn't like that with the heavier wire hook on this one. If you want to go a little bit more finesse, have just a little bit more of a finesse wire, you know, not as thick, this is probably going to be the one for you. This also has the dual wire keeper on it. I know some people really like that. It's hand tied, wire tied. This little Evo one is too. So both really good chatterbaits, but slightly different hardware, slightly different hook. And I know some people were all about that they wanted this, they wanted that downsized chatterbait. If we compare that to the regular jackhammer, which is either a 4 or 5, the package doesn't say, but it's a Gamakatsu hook, either a 4 or 5/0. So you can see definitely larger profile. Blade comparison on the regular jackhammer versus the new little jack. You can see definitely a size difference. So not as much vibration, a little bit smaller hook, more finesse wire. I certainly get the appeal to it. So we were talking about the subscribed fishing friend and I, why, if I'm getting all kinds of bites on this, why would I switch back to the big one? Well, I think a lot of that depends on where and how you're fishing. You know, this is going to have a lot more vibration to it, bigger profile if you're fishing around bigger fish. You know, take, for example, this Evo and the mini one I have set up. If you're fishing around bigger fish, having that bigger blade, a bigger size profile, trying to target those larger fish, I think this is going to be the way to go, that full size. If you're fishing a place where everybody and their grandma Gertrude is throwing a regular chatterbait, maybe downsizing to this. I mean, the chatterbait's one of the most popular lures out there right now. I've kind of been stirring the pot a little bit, trying to make the spinnerbait fun again. And I made a post on Instagram saying the spinnerbait is better than a chatterbait. Prove me wrong. I got a few hate messages from people who felt very strongly about the chatterbait. And I get it. One of the absolute most popular lures right now. A lot of people, kind of depend on as their go-to search bait. So downsize option, maybe you don't have as large a fish in the pond you're fishing. It's really pressured, or on those tough conditions, post frontal where fish, maybe you're just following the bigger chatterbait or you feel like it's just too much. Downsizing to this to get a few bites. So I definitely see a place for both. I don't think that them coming out just with this is going to completely replace the big size. So some colors that I picked up in this baby jack, that's the Golden Shiner. Golden Shiner is an absolute great color to mimic a number of things. Your bluegill with the darker back that have some of that gold on them. It could be shiners. Oftentimes you don't even have to have anything that color. It's just a good color that stands out in dirtier water. I like that gold. I also got the all white. River guys know about that all white. Black and blue for that dirty, muddy water. Brett's bluegill. Got to have that bluegill color. Regular old green pump can throw any sort of trailer on there, and that thing is universal about anywhere. The clear water shad, I like that color. Instead of getting the spot remover, I don't even know if they have that in the baby jack, but I got this one, kind of that finesse, clearer water look to it. Very natural, kind of a translucent-y shad look to it. And last, I picked up that green pumpkin shad. To me, this is like another ultimate crappie looking lure, even like a wiper, a hybrid bass, it could pass for. But a lot of people, I feel like, completely look over crappie lures. But there we go, crappie color right there, green pumpkin shad. Now the second part of this puzzle is there's other companies coming out with some really nice bladed jigs that I've liked and have been testing. The first one is from First Gen Lures, the Copperhead. Following along with the trend, they've come out with the new, it's the mini one. The regular Copperhead has been out for some time, but just releasing and hitting the market is the mini version. Now, I have liked the half-ounce version of this because it tends to ride higher in the water. To me, this is a shallow water chatterbait. If you're fishing, like, I don't know, 6 feet-ish and shallower, I really like this one. But to try to get it down to the deeper depths, slow rolling and stuff, I like some of the others better. Now this has a good wire hook to it, kind of that medium, I wouldn't say extra heavy or anything, kind of your regular wire. It's got the wire keeper there to it. It is hand tied with thread there, but the big difference with this one is on the nose of this. Remember back in the day, the old Copperhead BBs had the Copperhead snake on the box? If you had a BB rifle, you always had a thing of these with you. Well, they've taken a couple of those BBs and put it into the nose of this vibrating jig. Now, this is not a direct connect to the head. These came out while Z-Man still had the patent, so it does have the split ring there. There are some times where you do have to pump these a little bit to get them going, but I've found that with any vibrating jig on the market that is connected with the split ring, there's always a chance that you have to do that. Now, I do think there are still benefits to going to something like this because of how loud it is. It's a different sound. Again, everybody and their great grandma is throwing a chatterbait out there. So if you can throw something with a little bit different sound, especially, fishing shallow water, dirtier water, this has a really good like a thumpy clack to it, I guess you would say. That blade goes back and forth and knocks on those BBs as it's going through the water. So great shallow water thrower. I don't have one of the regulars. I thought I had a regular one here, but a little bit smaller size to it. Still comes in the 3/8 and 1/2 ounce. The 3/8, I think if you're throwing in this mini one, which is this size here, I actually cut the skirt on it a little bit to be more finesse. Threw a straight tail hog farmer spunk shad trailer on it, and was great. So the smaller 3/8 ounce, I'm thinking like 4 foot or less. I mean, like your shallow water, and you can see the difference there in the head. It's just the head size, the hook and everything is the same on both. This just has a larger head, larger weight up there in the 1/2 ounce. So that more of like 6-7 foot depth, but still to me, primarily a shallow running chatterbait, but I really liked it. Looking forward to fishing this little bit mini downsized version a lot more this year. Now this first color I showed you, chartreuse shad. Again, great way to mimic crappie with those. I love the vertical bars, a little bit of chartreuse on it, green pumpkin head. The smaller one that I showed you that I had rigged up using the other day was actually throwing this around like a little brush pile. Caught a good one and then caught a couple others that same day I was throwing the spinnerbait. Threw it for a little bit, but they definitely wanted the spinnerbait over a chatterbait that day. Still a great little lure, good thump to it. I'm really liking that ghost gill color, very natural. Probably my favorite throwing the larger one last year, this one they call Pro's Pick. It's got this like green pumpkin belly into I hope that shows up like a holographic purple blue midsection, which is really neat. So this green pumpkin with like clearish holographic stuff on it, purple on the head. Y'all know me, love the purple, but Pro's Pick is probably my favorite color they've got. I got a white one. I don't know where I put that. Y'all know what an all white one looks like. And then this one, Tennessee shad, which again, shiner and Tennessee like shad, Arkansas shad tend to do really well around here. That kind of greenish brown back to it. This one has a little bit more gold, which is fine. The shiner color will go fine with that, but not as much of the gold usually that I throw here. But if that was just like a white with kind of that green pumpkinish brown, I like that they've got the highlighted green strands that run through there as well as the green on the head. Good looking color as well. I think there's an all black or black and blue. I didn't grab that one either. It's black and blue, you know that. Now the last one, I've already showed these and talked about them, but I wanted to bring it up again because you're seeing more of these companies come out now with the direct connect. So there's no split ring. They're connecting direct to the head. So apparently I guess the patent ran out for Z-Man. I do not know how all that works, so don't take my word for absolute certainty here. But from what I've heard, the patent ran out. That's why we're seeing these other places come out, like Hags. That's what this one is here, the Hags one. This one I'm thinking is going to be the dark horse of the chatterbait world because these are like $5.99, I think. It's got a thread tied skirt, so it's a tied skirt. It's got a good keeper on it. I'll show you on this one, which is the double wire keeper. I know a lot of people like the double wire on it. It's got a the same decent hook. It's not light wire, but it's more of on that heavier side, reminiscent of like the regular jackhammer and such. The snap might be the only thing that turns people off. I know a lot of people are absolutely set on that decoy, the egg type. You could always replace this. And that could be different based on what you're fishing. If you're fishing braid with a really stout rod, based on the way I've fished it, medium heavy with 15, 17 pound fluorocarbon, I've not been out hooks, but I'm also not catching 12 pound bass here in Iowa. So maybe it's different for everybody, but at $5.99, you could buy a pack of decoy split rings and replace that if you really, really wanted to, because I've tested it a few times and it seemed to be really consistent. I need to test it more, but seems to be a consistent little workhorse. They do have a slightly different blade to it, kind of that hexagonal, whatever type cut still, but the top of it is rounded off. So it's not the flat look to it. They do bend, if I can get it to focus, they do slightly bend that up, but has been a pretty darn good little chatterbait here. I've thrown a couple of these. So I don't know, what do you all think about these other ones coming out that are direct connect to the head? Have you tried any of these? Something like this for, $5, or are you completely stuck on Z-Man? I think Spro has one now that's direct connect to the head. I saw another company come out with one, but yeah, I think we're going to see more of these. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen to the vibrating jig market. So what are my final thoughts on all the changes? Well, like anything in life, I like having choices. Now, some people are going to be completely stuck on, the regular Z-Man. Other people will go to something cheaper, if that's all you can afford. I think the big thing is I like to see the difference in sizes, regardless of what brand you want to use. Something, you know, like the Evo, this little, you know, new mini version still has the heavy wire stout hooks. They say, hey, if you throw your regular, you know, jackhammer combo, you can still throw this little downsized deal. Still got the heavy wire hook, just in a smaller, more finesse, you know, package. So throw it on the same one you're throwing your full size on. Now, something like the mini jackhammer or the copperhead look to have a very, very close to similar wire hook on it, kind of that more medium wire. I like seeing options that have that, so you don't have to, you know, if you've got a medium or you know want to downsize just a little bit, bite's been a little bit tough, you can go to that slightly smaller wire hook. Some people would argue better hookups with that. You can go to a slightly lighter tackle. Just depends on how you want to fish right. At least we're getting options. So in conclusion, I don't have a favorite. I'm going to test all of them, use them all, and give you all my honest feedback because I think there could be certain situations where each one plays out and has its own little spot. So I want to test that, give that information all back to you. Like I say on my channel, I don't know everything, but I'm happy to share everything that I know. I'm not holding secrets here. I'll spill the beans on whatever stuff I'm using, good or bad, to help you all. So do me a favor, comment below and let me know out of all these, or if you found another one, which one are you excited to throw and why? I would like to hear your feedback because, hey, again, options are good. I like having options. Now, again, I've linked all these below. If you use the links, a little bit does come back to the channel to help out. I appreciate that. And I appreciate all you who continue watching, just like David Rauschenbach. Just watched my spinnerbait video, which I will leave linked up here at the end. He said, hey, I like the spinnerbaits without a trailer hook because it makes them easier to flip out of trees when you accidentally cast there. I get it. Sometimes I do that too. But hey, I got to edit. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time.